Did?
No. Yes, right in
Yeah.
front of my house, right in front of where I'm staying, yeah,
Okay.
right in front.
Oh, it's not, oh, gotcha.
In relation to that, that's my.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, it just needed
yeah,
batteries.
it was right in between where my mom lives and where I'm staying.
Yeah.
Pole right in
Is
the
it
middle.
moving?
Growing up there, I don't know, but it happens.
Oh, look who's back.
I mean,
Well, my goodness. He's gonna walk in here like nothing happened?
Exactly. Yeah, little old you.
and I guess it's just that people are going.
Little old you
So,
after having.
Oh, no, it's completely arranged, yeah. Surprise!
We're partying.
it is.
We all gathered together here for you
Gold.
on a real busy evening.
Is there a proclamation?
Man, my child is, I don't know how old and never did get this small again.
Too far. Tell me what about. How's that looking to me? It's not moving yet. How about now? Oh, there it goes. But you need more counsel.
Oh, the camera.
Okay, that's good up and down,
The camera.
but you need, I can't see Matt.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You can't see Mac, I can only see half of Lauren.
I think that's about what it should be. No Mac, half of me,
That's perfect.
All of me?
all of you, yeah, all of you.
Now all you got is Mac. How about that?
All you have is,
I think there's a delay.
There is a delay. There is a delay, no, it's.
all right, before we officially begin, I'm going to remind everybody to mute your cell phones.
That's what I always forget anyway.
And as soon as we have the technical ready, we will start. Becky, are we good? Okay. All right. Good evening and welcome to Brevard City Council regular meeting of Monday, April 20th, 2026. I want to thank everybody that has come here in person as well as everybody that is watching us online. I want to start by introducing everybody that is sitting up here. On my far right, we have City Attorney Mac McKellar. Next to Mac, we've got Councilman Lauren Wise. Next to Lauren, we have Councilwoman Pamela Holder. Next to Pamela, we have Mayor Pro Tem and Councilman Aaron Baker. I'm Mayor Maureen Kopoloff. On my immediate left, we have our city clerk, Denise Hodgson. Normally, next to Denise, we would have Councilman Gary Daniel, but Mr. Daniel is not here tonight. Next, we have Councilman Dean Lytle. And next to Dean, we have our Assistant City Manager, who is actually our acting city manager today, filling in for Wilson, who is not here, David Todd. Okay, and that's everybody up here. At this point, I would like to introduce Pastor Dima Baryshnikov of Destiny Church. Pastor Dima, would you please give us the invocation?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council members. Shall we pray together? Our Heavenly Father, we come to you with reverence and humility in our hearts. We thank you for being loving and gracious and merciful to all of us. We acknowledge you as our shepherd, as our Savior, our Lord, and our God. We thank you for this meeting and for all of those who are in attendance. Your word teaches us to pray for our government and for all those who are in authority. So tonight we lift up our city mayor, every city council member, and all those who serve the public in this city. We pray, Lord, that you would give them wisdom, insight, and understanding to make decisions and to perform tasks that would reflect your will concerning this community. Remind us all tonight that you called all of us to be good stewards of what's been entrusted to us. We need you in our city, we need you in our life. May your kingdom come and your will be done in our midst as it is in heaven. It is in the name of Jesus that we pray. Amen.
Pastor Dima, would you tell us a little bit about Destiny Church?
Thank you so much for allowing me to do that. My name is Dima Barishnikov, and I'm the pastor of Destiny Church. Destiny Church is located at 48 Tip Top Road, right across the street from Save More grocery store. Our service is at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Everyone is welcome. I would like to extend an invitation to all of you here to attend our services and be our guest. We would love to have you.
Well, thank you. We are so thankful for our strong faith community here and for you and all of your parishioners. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, honor, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Madam Mayor, you have a quorum. You have 5 of 6 members present.
Okay. Council, do I have a motion to excuse Councilman Daniel from tonight's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Councilman Daniel is officially excused. Council, you have the draft agenda. Are there any proposed modifications to the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Council, you have the draft minutes of the March 16th, 2026 regular meeting. Are there any changes or modifications to the minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. All right, and we are going to start with certificates, awards, and recognition. And we're going to start with a proclamation.
Gotta get closer.
Oh, and I think we're actually supposed to move the microphone here. Right, this way, so people can hear better. All right. And, all right, I guess we don't have the representative from Smart Start. She's not able, or isn't here. Okay, well, today, you may have noticed when you got to City Hall, did anybody notice anything different about City Hall this evening? Harvey, you're so observant. Yes. We have blue pinwheels in front of City Hall. Do you know what they mean? No. Okay. They are there because this is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and they are the symbol of child abuse prevention, and that's the symbol of the month. So today, I am very happy to be joined by Erin Drew from the Family Place of Transylvania County, Erin, and Sherry Griffin from the Children's Center, Sherry. And I had hoped that Smart Start of Transylvania County would be here, but you can see, usually when I do a proclamation, we have maybe one organization that comes. We have multiple organizations, and that tells you just how important it is to take care of and to protect our children. And, you can tell a lot about a society and a community by how they take care of the most vulnerable members in that community. And our children are some of our most vulnerable members. So it is. This month, I will read the proclamation. Proclamation number 2026 Tax 07, Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas children are our state's most vulnerable members, as well as our state's most valuable resources. helping to shape the future of North Carolina. Whereas positive childhood experiences like loving caregivers and safe, stable, and nurturing relationships can help mitigate trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences to promote the social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. Whereas childhood trauma can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime and impact future generations of their family. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, is a serious problem affecting every community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. Whereas children who live in families with access to concrete economic and social supports are less likely to experience abuse and neglect. And I'm going to stop here for a second and say that is exactly what these organizations here provide. They provide that concrete support that makes that difference. Whereas nurture positive childhoods and preventing child maltreatment is possible because of the partnerships created between families, prevention advocates, child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and local state and national governments. Whereas we acknowledge that in order to solve the public health issue of abuse and neglect, we must work together to change hearts and mindsets through storytelling and sharing, center the needs of families, break down bias and barriers, and inspire action from expected and unexpected partners. And whereas we are committed to advancing equitable, responsive, and effective systems that ensure all children and families are healthy and thriving. Whereas we recognize the need to prioritize kids and invest in more prevention initiatives like home visiting and family strengthening policies, economic supports, and community-based child abuse prevention programs at the national, state, and local levels. Now therefore I, Maureen Kopoloff, Mayor of the City of Brevard, do hereby proclaim April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and urge all citizens to recognize this month by building a narrative of hope for children and families through collaboration and the creation of an ecosystem of primary prevention that does not currently exist in this country. Signed this 20th day of April, 2026. Ladies. Our professional photographer. Well, wait a minute. Take a minute and let's have you tell a little bit about each organization. Erin, you want to start?
Sure. So we're the, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're the Family Place. We're a nonprofit and we're a family resource center that was established almost 30 years ago by families and community members who knew that our families needed a place to come together and connect and build peer support networks. And so our mission is to support families and strengthen them, and we do this through connection, through education, and through concrete supports. And we serve about 400 families, and we give about 10,000 units of service. Everything we do is free. You see a lot of our activities out in the community. We partner with a lot of agencies. We went on a 13-year partnership with the Children's Center and providing a social worker for the community.
And you have what, 2 locations?
We do. We have a location here in Brevard. We have a location in Rosman, and then one of our staff members is in Sherry's building.
Yes. Sherry?
All right, so the Children's Center, we are located just the next road over from the Community Service Building. We will be celebrating our 35th anniversary this September, and a lot of people don't know about us because most of our families come from the Department of Social Services referral system. so if they have a case open, then a lot of the families come there or come to our home, the little house, to actually have their foster care visit with their children there. So we do parenting classes for DSS or for anybody who is interested with a nurturing parenting program. We do safe exchange and supervised visitations ourselves, so safe exchange with two parents or guardians that do not get along and cannot see each other, and give them their children a safe place where they can exchange and be with the other parent for the weekend. And so we also give ESS duffel bags, so when they do have to go and remove a child from their home, then they have something to put their clothing and their valuables in instead of just a trash pile. And we just do a little bit of everything, emergency services, and with Aaron's help, we've got a lot of people coming and going with Miss Charlotte, who is our case manager. We work very well together.
Well, and we are so thankful that we have these resources. I mean, they play such a critical role, and if you look at all of the collaboration that I listed that's necessary to make this effective, it's all of us folks. But we couldn't do it, and as the city government, we certainly couldn't do it without our nonprofit partners. So thank you, and thank you, organization, and your volunteers for everything you do. And let's all continue to make sure that we are there for our children. So thank you
Much.
Thank you.
All right, at this point, we will move on to public comment. All right, public comment. The public is invited to speak during public comment on any topic unless it is a public hearing item on this agenda. And we have 2 public hearings, and they have separate sign-up sheets. Anyone who wants to speak must register with the city clerk, which is the sign-up sheet. When it is your turn, step to the podium in front of City Council, state your name and address clearly, limit comments to 3 minutes or less, and avoid repetition. Direct comments to the full council, not to an individual council member or to staff. And I will give you a warning when you have 30 seconds left. Our first speaker is Mr. John Rich.
Hi there, my name is Jonathan Rich, and I live at 223 Allison Road in Brevard. Hello, my friends. We meet again. It's been a long time. Where should we begin? I used to be a newspaper reporter in this town, but now it's my pleasure to inform you that I am the CEO of New Lightning Media, and our new product is BrevardBeagle.com. We are a news, entertainment, and business website, updated almost daily. We want to cover what's happening in Transylvania County. We'll leave Asheville and Hendersonville to somebody else. I will be covering these meetings. Won't be covering all of them live in person because the staff is, well, you're hearing from him. And I also do a morning newscast on WSQL at 8 a.m. It's about a minute 30 each morning on AM 1240, Q102, and WSQLradio.com. There will be something from this meeting tomorrow. Not sure what yet, but definitely something because I haven't written it yet. Just want to reintroduce myself and let you, as well as those tuning in by remote, know that if you see something on my site that is incorrect, factually wrong, I probably didn't mean it, but you can email editor@BrevardBeagle.com, and the magic of the internet is I can fix it, make it right. If you read something that you don't like, well, we'll have a conversation about it. I might change it. I might not. I'm sadly the editor of this new venture, and it's been a lot of fun. I've had some really strong stories about this community. I had a story about what's going on with the co-ed, and, well, y'all know what's going on with the co-ed, but if you don't, BrevardBeagle.com. I had a story about the redevelopment of the Acosta property, which I know that's city and it's county, but it's more one than the other. And I know somebody that might be sitting on a committee soon. So, hey, how you doing? And I have a story up there now about a memorial service that was held Saturday that some of you were at for a Brevard resident who's no longer with us.
30 seconds.
That's about my time, but I just want to say BrevardBeagle.com is here. If you would like a sticker, come see me. There is a real dog. His name is Hard Times. I didn't bring him tonight because Wilson said I couldn't. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. All right, our next speaker is Doug Powell.
Good evening. I'd like to commend the City Council for your decision last month to take a pause and discern whether or not any potential opportunities to house a data center would be in the best interests of the citizens of Brevard, especially considering the excessive water and energy usage and the fact that very few local jobs, if any, could come out of it. There is another constitutional reason you may have already considered as well. No doubt that after I handed out your own pocket principles a couple of months ago, that you all rushed home and read our founding documents in their entirety, especially the Bill of Rights. When you did, then you came across the Fourth Amendment, which reads in part, "The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated." James Otis was a founding father to the founding fathers. In 1761, as a lawyer, he railed in court his objection to what was known as writs of assistance, where any two-bit British bureaucrat could enter into someone's home by producing an open-ended blank search warrant until he found something he deemed to be illegal. Then he would fill it out as he saw fit without the signature of a judge or even a witness to a crime. This was one of those long train of abuses that the founders were ridding themselves of on July 4th, 1776. 14 years later, this led to the ratifying of the Fourth Amendment, so that we, the people, could never be accused of a crime using such an open-ended search tool. It is reasonable to assume that James Otis could never have imagined such an abuse as government cameras trained on American citizens 24/7. There are now more surveillance cameras per capita in the United States than there are in China. And one of the primary purposes of modern data centers is to run AI technology to keep track of every citizen through facial recognition software. If you venture north to Asheville, you will find yourself confronted with over 2,000 cameras monitored in that city in real time by their police department. Take a look at the many tall light standards that have been installed near freeway entrances, some with the capacity to recharge drones. The Department of War just announced that they will purchase 1 million drones by 2028.
30
Hopefully,
seconds.
Just a coincidence. According to our founding documents, the role of civil government and the reason you take an oath to defend the Constitution is not to provide safety to its citizens, but to protect our God-given civil rights. Like those who marched in with Dr. King in the South to protect their civil rights, this issue could ultimately be our generation's fight. Lastly, one of the reasons many of us moved to Brevard was the dark evening skies. Disturbingly, high-intensity LED lights and cameras are appearing everywhere and will eventually provide the apparatus to coordinate with data centers, drones, and AI technology
Time,
to
Mr.
permanently
Powell.
surveil the citizens of Brevard. Please do not let this happen on your watch.
Thank you, Mr. Powell. All right, that was everybody that signed up for public comment. We will now move on. Huh?
I'm sorry, I apologize. I had to work late and I'm here to speak about property tax increase.
Okay, so you want to talk on public comment. I will allow you to add your name now and come up and speak.
I'll be very quick.
Okay, here, please fill this out. We understand having to work late. Yeah.
My sincere apologies to everyone. I didn't realize you had to come through the bathroom to get you all.
at the microphone up here, 3 minutes, right there. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Gwen Gerber, and I live at 665 Maple Street. I live in essentially a double wide. It's about 1,000 square feet. It has nothing interesting in it except for a kitchen that came out of the Restore and windows that came out of the Restore. The lot is so small and so sloped that you could never tear it down and build anything larger than what is on that land right now. I purchased the home in October of 2019 for $193,000. It was reevaluated in 2021 for $173,000, not the purchase price. Last year, it was reevaluated at $381,000. It is a 2-1, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. There is no opportunity for a roommate in that house. That is a $208,000 increase in the valuation of my property. Ageism is alive and well in Brevard. I currently work a $19 an hour job. My mortgage has gone up as a result of the increase in the increase from the county and the valuations and the millage last year, over $200 a month. I live very, very frugally. I know this is small. I know this is important to you to be able to balance your budget. I simply cannot afford another increase. My interest rate on my mortgage went down. I was excited. I was not excited that now my survivor's benefit from Social Security is the exact same as my taxes, my homeowner's insurance, and my mortgage. And my USAA homeowner's insurance went down this year. I'm a good citizen. I use, as far as your potential increase of water, sewage, and trash, I use septic-ready toilet paper. I watch that water because it gets very expensive very quickly.
30 seconds.
I have low flow everything. I use enzymatic cleaners. I'm not putting $160,000 worth of toxic chemicals into the system. And I really encourage you to find out who is. Thank you very much. I apologize for my lateness.
Thank you, Ms. Gerber. Okay. I think that's the end of public comments. Okay. All right, we will move on to the public hearings. Our first public hearing today is the proposed amendment to the City of Brevard Code of Ordinances, Chapters 38, 42, and 66, Special Event Regulations. And I believe Aaron Bland, our Assistant Planning Director, is going to present.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So this is a staff-initiated text amendment to review and amend the ordinance and procedures for special events here in the city. For the purposes of this, a special event is an organized gathering open to the public or invited guests that uses public spaces, public rights-of-way, such as roads, greenways. And examples of these things are what we all probably know of, parades, foot races, festivals, block parties, those sorts of things. Typically, events contained to private property do not require special event permitting unless they are determined to potentially substantially hinder or prevent normal flow of vehicular or pedestrian traffic. So if your event is large enough that it might interfere with, a typical operation of a road or sidewalk, it may rise to the level of requiring a permit and be subject to these rules. These events play a crucial role in our kind of community character and the vibrancy of our town, and so we are trying to amend the ordinances and procedures to just modernize them and get them closer to the actual procedures that we do here in the city. Section 6613 of the city code is what outlines these procedures, and this is an amendment to that section, a fairly significant amendment to update and modernize that entire chapter. So currently, when someone applies for a special event like the White Squirrel Festival or the Assault on the Carolinas, they have to submit a permit application with a site plan and some insurance requirements. But this process is sort of antiquated and insufficient and leads to a lot of back and forth between the city and the applicant while we're trying to get all the information we need to ensure that public safety, coordination of public services and things like that are done properly. The Code of Ordinances is not really the best place for this procedural review and guidance. And so what we've done as a part of these amendments that we see other communities doing with success is providing a guidebook for applicants. So we've prepared that. That's in your staff report packet. That's a living document that would continue to be refined and improved over time to reflect practices and policies that we tweak or initiate in order to improve the efficiency of this review process. So the largest change you'll see in the amendments is the establishment of the Special Event Review Committee. And so this is a city committee comprised of police, fire, public works, planning, and any other necessary staff people to review proposals and coordinate across departments. We will hold a regular standing meeting to go over all the applications that have come in and meet with the applicant directly so they can receive preliminary approval and any sort of conditions before final approval. The process will also include other best practices we've discovered researching what other cities do, like requiring notification to affected residents about the event or any associated closures, and a post-event evaluation, which would be required for recurring events to lock in their date for the subsequent year. A lot of these procedural changes are not reflected in the code itself, but it's in the handbook. And so the code authorizes staff to make those procedures and policies. And then the handbook is kind of where all the specific requirements live. These amendments are consistent with several elements of the comprehensive land use plan as outlined in the staff report. The Public Safety Committee met and discussed this and recommended in favor at their March 4th meeting. And we're not requesting action at this time. This is just for the public hearing, and I'm happy to go over any of the amendments or the guidebook if you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bland. At this time, since it is a public hearing, we will officially open the public hearing. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is now open. Okay. No one signed up to speak at this public hearing. So, council, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now closed. At this point, we will open it up for discussion and questions by council. And we will start with Mr. Lytle.
No questions, just thanks for identifying this, modernizing our processes. I think both the staff and event organizers will it'll be welcome. Thanks.
Mr. Baker.
Yeah, I'm the chair of the Public Safety Committee, so I've already sort of seen this stuff, and we'll just say that as a person who in his day job does events, I can really appreciate the detailed nature of the guidebook and how it sort of goes above and beyond just telling people what the rules are, but sort of walks them step by step through the process. And I also wanted to say that, sometimes we get things before us here that live within one department of the city or another, and I think this is a great example of sort of cross-departmental cooperation and fire and police working together with planning and other departments, public works, to make us better. So happy to see it.
Ms. Holder.
Thank you for the presentation. So does this mean that the Special Events Review Committee will get all of the applications at this point?
Well, once established, yeah, they would review all of them on a monthly basis.
All right. And the $1 million and $2 million, I'm guessing that that's pretty common?
Yeah, that's been our standard for
Okay,
as long as I've worked here.
all right. That was all I had. Thank you.
Mr. Wise?
No comments, I just appreciate the clarification, and the handbook is great, so good job.
All right, council, no action is requested tonight on this, so we will move on, and this will come back for a vote at our next meeting. We will move on to our second
Need to
public.
close the public hearing.
We already did.
We did,
You already did?
before I close it,
Sorry, I
before I
missed that.
start
That was
comments. Yes. Okay, we're moving on to our second public hearing. A proposed amendment to the official zoning map of the city of Brevard, Welcome Street. And Mr. Bland is again going to present this.
Yes, I'm going to bring up the map of this so you have it up while you listen and while we talk about this. So we received an application for a zoning map amendment for 4 properties on Welcome Street, or these 4 in the red area on the south side of the street on the map here. They are currently zoned neighborhood mixed use, which is what the red is, and the request is to rezone all of them to residential mixed use. These are 4 small properties. There's not a lot of space to do much on these lots, so staff feels that RMX is an appropriate district for these parcels and would allow development of small single-family houses on the parcels, which is not allowed in NMX, in an area that's adjacent to city utilities and, infill development opportunities that we want to encourage. Further, staff also is bringing council the option to potentially rezone the 4 parcels on the north side, the yellow parcels in the hatching, to RMX as well. These total 3.5 additional acres in addition to the 0.6 of the red parcels that are currently zoned GR8. Each of these has a single-family house on them. Those houses would not become non-conforming if rezoned because single-family is allowed in RMX. So again, this is an option to give to council for an enlarged area. We had advertised it for all 8, so you have that option should you wish to go that route. We have received input from the property owners on the north side, unfavorable to being included, and so they have submitted a petition which is in your packet. The policy analysis for the applicant's parcels, this is a downzoning, but if you'll recall, the recent legislation on downzoning allows us to do that if we have property owner consent and the property owner has consented to it. And it is also consistent with elements of the comprehensive land use plan and the future land use map. These 4 are in the urban corridor character area, and RMX is an applicable zoning district for that character area. Regarding the north 4 parcels, those are also consistent with the land use plan and future land use map. That area is identified as the traditional neighborhood character area, and RMX is also an applicable district for that character area. Staff has been asked in the past when we get rezoning applications to not look at them in a vacuum, but potentially look at other areas that the zoning could be applied to for increasing potential density build out. And so that's simply what we're doing here. This is a potential to make that Welcome Street neighborhood RMX, which would increase the potential build out not a lot, but somewhat significantly. This is an upzoning and not a downzoning, and so that Session Law 2024-57 that we've talked about before would not apply. So again, just an option. Since we've been asked to look at potential for upzoning in the past, we wanted to bring you that option tonight. The Planning Board considered this at their April 8th meeting. After some discussion and public comment from Welcome Street residents, they recommended only in favor of the applicant's parcels, and so they have submitted to you a statement of consistency and reasonableness just for those 4 parcels. The applicant is requesting action at this time to limit timing issues they have with construction materials and the fact that there's only been 1 meeting a month with the budget discussions the last couple months. So you do have 2 ordinances for your consideration. One would be just for the applicant's parcels, and one would be for all 8. And I do know that the maps and the ordinances are incorrect, so we would obviously correct those with the city clerk when the time comes for that. But So your options tonight, if you choose to act, are to grant only for the parcels applied for. You could grant it for all 8. You could deny it or send it back to the planning board or hold additional public hearings. So that's the staff report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, at this point, we will open the public hearing. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The hearing is now open. A public hearing. The public is asked to adhere to the following guidelines for a public hearing. Register with the city clerk by printing your name, address, and phone number, which is the sign-in sheet. When it is your turn, step to the podium in front of city council. State your name and address clearly. Be concise, avoid repetition, and limit your comments to 5 minutes or less. And I will give you notice when you have 30 seconds left. Direct comments to the full council, not to an individual council member or to staff. This is a time to provide your comments, but not to ask questions. A public hearing is not an appropriate venue for a question and answer session. And we have one person that has signed up for the public hearing, and that is Mr. Eric LaRoe.
My name is Eric LaRoe. I live at 62 Welcome Street. I just want to thank City Council for allowing me to speak in this matter. My wife was able to speak at the board. I was working, I wasn't able to, and I would just ask that you follow along with what they agreed with. Was we didn't, on this street, the 4 parcels on the north side, none of us asked for anybody to come put a sign in our yard. None of us asked, we didn't apply for anything. We've been living there, some of them over 50, almost 60 years, raised their families there. They've all signed the petition that is in front of you. The petition is to deny our side of the street. We didn't request it. We didn't ask for it. I understand this gentleman has a job to do as well, but as landowners and neighbors, we have a job to take care of each other. A lot of these people are older, and I find it kind of hard that a sign can just be put in my front yard when I get home one evening that somebody has decided that my property needs to be rezoned. Nobody ever came and talked to the neighbors. Nobody ever spoke to me at all. I had to reach out. I don't understand that, and I'm asking you, the person that applied for their property, take a look at that. But I'm asking you to be in favor with what the board saw, and there's no need to rezone our property. It is, everything behind us is residential. It is marked as residential. I feel like this is starting to encroach into the residential area on our side of the street. Nobody asked for that. The one applicant asked for his property to be rezoned. Nobody on the north side asked for it. They have all signed. I understand that you have a copy of the petition.
We have it.
I don't believe you have a copy of their signatures. I don't know.
We have
if
that
you do.
page too,
Okay.
yes.
All 4 of us, and as you can see, I do have bullet points on here. You know, the land use decisions should align with the city's long-term vision. Well, preservation of established neighborhood character, that's the second line in there. This doesn't establish that. I mean, these are people who I have my grandkids come in my front yard. I mean, there's so many different reasons in this petition that you have that's provided for you. All I'm asking is that you go along with the board, take a review of it, go with what that person that applied, that applicant, and leave us 4 landowners on the other side of the street. My wife was at the end of that street. My wife was raised at the very end where that grid is. She was raised there. Her family's property's there, the Goodson Lane. That's her family. We're just afraid that this is going to keep on going, and none of us asked for that. And I just ask that you deny the proposal. That's really my request, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. LaRoe. All right, that is everyone that signed up for the public hearing. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, public hearing is now officially closed. We will open it up for council's questions and comments. We will start with Mr. Wise.
Aaron, could you kind of enumerate the differences for everyone who may not know the between RMX and GR8 zoning?
Yeah, so RMX means residential mixed use, and it's a mixed use district that's still primarily residential. So it opens up some minor non-residential uses that are more compatible with residential areas than what people typically think of as commercial uses, while still focusing mostly on residential. I mean, it allows all the types of residential land uses in the ordinance are allowed in RMX, which is not true for any other district. So it's still primarily residential, but it's meant to act as that sort of transition district from a more commercial area to a purely residential area. Primarily used around downtown, but we do see it in instances like this with the Sylvan Valley Industrial Building as sort of a more commercialized area. Big Bend, Excelsior is more purely residential. That's sort of where we see that as a transitional district. That's its intent. Is that?
Yeah, no, thank you. And then if we're just focusing on the NMX properties now, if we were to rezone those as RMX, is there any concern about spot zoning in that little pocket?
I don't have concern about that. It's multiple parcels. It's consistent with the future land use map. The planning board has reviewed it and found the same. There's not, so general residential, and the sort of scale of intensity of our districts, it would go from general residential, residential mixed use, and then neighborhood mixed use would be the next. And so since those uses are sort of adjacent, like in the use matrix, it's not a massive jump. And so that comparative allowed uses between the districts is another thing you look at when you think about that. And since they're next to each other, they have similar uses.
Okay.
It's not a big jump like general residential to downtown or something like that. It would be a larger jump that might give you heartburn in that regard. But I mean, those are the sorts of things you look at when you consider spot zoning issues, and I don't think this, it doesn't give me any heartburn for any of those things you typically look at when you're considering.
Okay, that's all my questions.
Ms. Holder?
Pardon my ignorance of the area and what's around. My question is why, or what are the future plans from making it residential to mixed use?
It doesn't necessarily mean we want that area to become mixed use.
Okay, so why, I'm sorry, but I have to ask, why are we doing it?
Well, on the south side, because we have an application requesting it.
Okay,
And then again, on the north side, it's that idea we've heard over the years to look for potential to expand these requested zoning districts when they come across our desk. Don't just look at the applicant in a vacuum. If there's a potential to upzone some land for increased potential housing density, that's been something we've heard from council, is to look for those opportunities. And so that's what we did when this one came across.
so
But it's
it's
more
just
about-
one applicant?
Correct.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, owns all four of the parcels, the red hatched parcels.
In that red part?
Mhm.
But you're proposing that we make also the green part mixed use? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, all the hatched parcels is what the hearing was advertised for. So that's, council can enact it for the entire area that was advertised or smaller. You can't go bigger. And so to present it to you as an option, we brought all 8.
So we can just say the red part that is
Correct.
marked?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I had concerns about the spot zoning thing as well, and I asked the city attorney about that. So I'd like to ask him just to give us a summary as to why
Yeah,
we
I-
don't feel like we're at risk for spot zoning.
Yeah, I looked at the, case law surrounding spot zoning, and spot zoning is a bigger concern if it's way out of whack with what's around it. And those, for instance, those 4 parcels, because they are transition from an NMX, neighborhood mixed use, and the more industrial use beside it, actually putting an RMX, a step-down buffer between there and the general residential across the street is actually a more appropriate use. It makes sense in the context. And that's what the court looks at, is does it make sense, or is it totally out of whack? Is it putting a strip club in the middle of the residential neighborhood? You know, that's what spot zoning is there to prevent. Or a gas station is the classic case, in the middle of a residential neighborhood. This makes sense. It also comports with the plan to keep this a residential area. RMX is definitely a residential type use. In fact, I'm looking through the matrix right now. I think I found about 5 uses that are allowed in RMX that are not allowed in general residential. And that's about it. And most of them are like pottery studios and things.
Yeah, it's a slight step up.
Yeah, what, pardon?
It's a very slight step up.
Yeah, it's a very slight step up. So it's because of the proximity and the fact that it's 4 lots and the fact that it's a step down, it's reasonable and it makes sense. It's not a nonsensical, all out of whack with reality step is what, and frankly, the fact that the planning board has studied it, had a public hearing, and made a recommendation that is consistent and reasonable and in compliance with the, with our planning documents. All of those things make me feel pretty comfortable that this is not spot zoning and would be, if somebody objected to these 4 lots, for instance, it will be ruled in our favor and would not be considered spot zoning. So I feel pretty comfortable with that.
Yeah. And I guess my next question is, looking at the additional parcels that planning asked us to look at. So in the future, I mean, if we rezone those the 4 requested parcels on the south, that's not actually south, is it? It would be.
That's south.
Is it? Okay. That would introduce NMX or RMX into this equation. So if one of those parcels on the north side of the street eventually sold and someone had plans or needed or requested a rezoning for NMX or RMX, likely that would be acceptable because there's parcels adjoining it that are already zoned that way,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, there's no reason a future request can't be made for either of those.
Right, okay. Those are all my questions.
Mr. Lytle?
Yeah, I was just curious, and you started to bring it up, Mike, is under RMX, I was just curious about some of those potential uses. Pottery store is one of them. Any other examples that
Yeah,
might?
I can, here, let's just bring it up.
One use is multifamily, more than 4 units per building.
So what, you want to look between RMX and district?
Yes.
NMX or GR?
Yep, in the mix.
NMX. So, single-family dwellings are allowed in RMX, but not NMX. NMX allows restaurants, banks, you know, so it's a bigger jump from RMX to
Right.
NMX. And so, if preserving the character of that street is a concern, I would actually say going down to RMX for those that are NMX
Right.
achieves that, because then you eliminate things like funeral homes, banks,
Crematorium.
retail sales, that sort of thing from being in those red parcels.
Market, educational.
Those are mostly the same. Let's see. I mean, indoor amusements allowed in NMX with a special use permit. Same for outdoor. This stuff's going to be pretty much off the table for both. So
Okay.
it's really more that restaurants, retail, some of those studios, But then the difference between GR and RMX is going to be much less. It allows the personal services, which would be things like a hair salon, stuff like that. The multifamily, more than 4 units of building is allowed in RMX, but not GR. So the change from GR to RMX is going to be slight. It's going to be a more substantial change from RMX.
Right, to NMX. That's all I had.
All right, council, we are asking for an action this evening. Do I have a motion regarding the change in zoning? You have several options available to you.
Can we get those options again?
You have the option to recommend or vote to approve the recommendation from the planning board, which is only the 4 parcels on the south side of Welcome Street. That is the first option. The second option is to approve the expanded area of all 8 parcels on both sides of Welcome Street. And of course, you can always send this back to the planning board or table it, or, all of your regular options. But the 2 options in terms of moving forward with some type of approval are those 2.
I'll make a motion that we rezone the NMX to RMX and do nothing on the north side of Welcome. Keep it as it is presently zoned.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
For clarity, I want to make sure that we're just talking about the 4 parcels in the red. Yes.
That was the motion.
Okay. All right.
Motion. Any additional questions, comments? All right, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved to rezone the 4 parcels on the south side of Welcome Street. Thank you for coming. All right, we will move on to our consent agenda. The following items are on for consent and information. 1, the tax settlement report from March 2026. 2, property tax releases March 2026. 3, ordinance declaring street closures White Squirrel Weekend and Memorial Day. 4, resolution adopting T.C. Strong's Hope Phone Booth installation in Clemson Plaza as official government speech. 5, designer selection civil engineering services Estito Trail Boardwalk replacement. 6, city manager employment agreement amendments. 7, appointment of city representative to Transylvania County Transportation Advisory Committee. 8, resolution accepting state revolving fund loan for water treatment plant second intake. 9, audit contract for the year ending June 30th, 2026. 10, proclamation number 2026-08, Arbor Day, April 25th, 2025. 11, Public Safety Committee meeting minutes, November 24th, 2025 meeting. 12, Public Safety Committee meeting minutes, December 22nd, 2025. 13, Public Works and Utilities Committee meeting minutes, March 4th, 2026. 14, Parks, Trails, and Recreation Committee meeting minutes, January 21st, 2026. And 15, Parks, Trails, and Recreation Committee meeting minutes, February 18th of 2026. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent agenda is approved. We will move on to unfinished business. Our item is the proposed amendment to the Building Brevard 2030 Comprehensive Land Use Plan, adoption of the city's green growth audit as an addendum. And once again, we have Mr. Bland presenting.
So just as a reminder, this is a partnership with the North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission. They did a review of the city's Unified Development Ordinance to see how effective it is at promoting sustainable development and developed some recommendations for us to strengthen the UDO's alignment with what they call green growth principles. This was reviewed by the planning board at their February meeting, and then you guys got a presentation on it at the March 16th meeting. And so tonight it is before you for a vote to adopt. And if you do adopt it, I just want to remind you, this becomes an official addendum to the comprehensive land use plan. It becomes part of what we would look at when things come before you for consideration, particularly those UDO updates or amendments. We would refer to this just like we do the rest of the comprehensive land use plan. That's all I got.
Okay, council, do I have a motion regarding the green growth audit?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the presented green growth audit as an amendment to the comprehensive land use plan.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we will open it for discussion. Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I'll just repeat some of what I said at the last meeting. I think this is an incredibly impressive document, and I can tell a ton of work went into this, and I think it's a great addition to some of our background planning documents that we have, like the comprehensive land use plan. I'll also, and I think it's great that we're adding it. I'll also repeat sort of the word of caution that I had last time, which is that, there's certain things in here which I know are going to have cascading effects on development costs down the road for people who are looking to build in Brevard. And I just want to make sure that we're tracking those, and when the planning board is using this document and planning staff are using this document, that we remember that we don't want to artificially create barriers to folks who are looking to build and do good things in Brevard. So that's all. I think on the whole it's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the planning board uses this to make some changes to our existing code.
Mr. Lidle?
Mirror the same comments. Very, very thorough report. Well put together. Looking forward to incorporating it.
Ms. Holder?
I think this is where I need to say this. I noticed that Silverstein was not included in this on page 393.
Is that the list of managed areas?
Yes.
Okay.
The Bard's jurisdiction.
Okay. We can add it to the list.
Good catch. Anything else, Ms. Holder?
No.
Mr. Wise?
Yeah, I think this is an incredibly robust document, but I would also echo what other council members have said, is this is obviously always going to be a balancing act, so we'll just look at it a case by case and make sure we're not hindering anyone egregiously in the
Just
future.
the guidance document.
Yeah.
You're not beholden to anything.
I get it. But thank you for, I'm beholden to you, Aaron, that's it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I will vote yes with the changes that I just mentioned.
We'll add it.
Got it. Okay. We will move on to new business. Our first item of new business is Bracken Trail names. And
You're almost done with me.
I was going to say, Mr. Bland, you've got quite the evening. You're like briefing everything. Okay, over to you.
So we are under construction with the new trails in the city's expanded Bracken Preserve parcel out by Waterford Place. Back in December, council officially designated this red line section 1 as the McMorrow Trail. But we need to officially name the other two trails, Section 2 in blue, and then the purple loop, Section 3. So your staff report has a couple of ideas that we originally pitched to the Parks, Trails, and Recreation Committee. They discussed this at their February 18th meeting, and after some discussion, voted to recommend that Section 2 be named the Laughing Water Connector, and Section 3 the Laughing Water Loop. And Laughing Water is a Blackfoot woman who, there's a story about her on one of the Bracken signs, who escaped slavery, came down to this part of the country and settled in the area. And so the idea is to name these trails after her and that story. The committee requested that staff do some additional research on that story, though, before we brought this to you. And so to do that, I went to the library and talked to Laura Sperry, the local historian at the library, and she said that unfortunately she can find no corroborating evidence of this story. She's been asked about it many times and has tried to find anything about this, and really the only information out there is our sign on the trail. And so she said that this really, she has more questions than answers when she digs into this every time. And so she suggested if you want to name it after settlers of the area, families that are recorded and are clearly documented to have settled this area, she suggested the Bailey family as a potential if you wanted to go that route. So again, the committee recommended Laughing Water Connector and Laughing Water Loop. Your options are to either go with those suggestions, or you could name them something else that you choose. So that's the request before you is to give us some names for these two new trails.
All right, council, do I have a motion concerning the names for the Bracken trails?
I'll make a motion that we name these two trails the Bailey Loop and the Bailey Connector Trail.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we will open it for discussion. Mr. Baker.
Yeah, Lauren and I are both on the Parks, Trails, and Rec Committee that originally recommended the other name. But we also made the request of staff to do a little research to make sure that that name had some real historical basis behind it. So I'm glad we did that. I think given what we have here, and Laughing Water, the story of Laughing Water might be true, but given that we know something to be true, and we know that a black family settled this area long ago, and we have historical records for that, I think honoring that history, which is documented, is the right way to do this. I'll reserve the right to be corrected by Mac Morrow when he comes here and finds us some new research that he's come up with.
I did talk to him about it.
Have you? Okay.
Disappointed, and he said, "No, it was so long ago that doesn't surprise me. Still
Yeah.
think it's a good name."
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it would be a great name, but I as a history major at Brevard College, primary sources are everything, and I think we should, rather than honor a potential legend, we should honor the real families that were in this area.
Okay, Mr. Wise.
Yeah, I agree. While Laughing Water would have been an awesome name, it turns out it's pretty much just a name. While Bailey is a real historical family who really risked a lot to settle this area, and this is just a small way we can kind of celebrate our own history in this area. So it's good to always find out some of these things aren't true, because it leads to, I think, a more relevant truth.
Ms. Holder.
I guess so we won't be the laughing stock. Bailey is a good name.
Mr. Lytle.
Yeah, just curious where, there's a plaque, you said?
So we have a series of interpretive signs on the
Yeah.
trails, and it's on one of those signs. It's based on an oral history from Barbara Garrett.
Oh, I see.
That's the source of the
Okay,
story.
okay. No other questions?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to our next item, the R5763 Wilson Road Roundabout Sidewalk Betterments. And we have Mr. Paul Ray, our planning director.
I'm having trouble with my throat, so I apologize in advance. I'm not mute yet, so I'll try to proceed. So staff is requesting direction from council on choosing a sidewalk improvement option for NCDOT project R5763. The state is currently designing a major corridor improvement about 3.7 miles that runs the full stretch of Wilson Road between Greenway Highway out by the elementary school to Old Hendersonville Highway near the sports complex, where the intersection is planned to be realigned with Augusta Road. The project will make the corridor safer and more resilient to flooding from the French Broad River. The project includes the construction of a roundabout at the intersection with Old US 64 and Augusta Road. As part of that work, NCDOT is planning to install standard 5-foot wide sidewalks around the roundabout. City staff asked NCDOT to consider widening those sidewalks to 8 feet, given the expected increase in pedestrian and bicycle traffic once the Augusta Trail is completed nearby. But like other state projects in town, the additional cost of widening it would be the city's responsibility. It's worth noting that portions of this area are currently outside the city limits, but are likely to be annexed over time as development occurs along the trail corridor. In terms of the project layout, the sidewalk along Augusta Road will stop about 400 feet short of the future Augusta Trail. NCDOT cannot extend the sidewalk beyond its project limits, but what is built now will influence how well that future connection functions. If the city would like the wider sidewalks, we would need to participate financially through an agreement with NCDOT. I requested the estimates on 4 options to give council some choices to consider. Option 1, let me get to the maps here. Option 1, 8-foot sidewalks on all sides of the roundabout, estimated city cost of about $20,000. Option 2, 8-foot sidewalks on both sides of Augusta Road north of the roundabout, estimated cost of $15,000. And option 3, 8-foot sidewalk on the west side of Augusta Road only, estimated cost of $7,000. That's the side that would likely connect with the Augusta Trail and make sense. And then option 4, standard 5-foot wide sidewalks, fully funded by NCDOT and no cost to the city. The illustrations are also in your packet. An 8-foot sidewalk is more consistent with the city's Unified Development Ordinance in areas where higher pedestrian activity is expected. This location's in close proximity to the future Augusta Trail, which is anticipated to be a significant regional asset, and a wider sidewalk would better accommodate the future connection by pedestrians. Also, because the roundabout is going to be built regardless, this is the most cost-effective opportunity to make this upgrade. Retrofitting it later would be more expensive. In terms of fiscal impact, no funds have been specifically budgeted for this type of improvement in the current and upcoming fiscal years. However, payment to NCDOT would not occur immediately and would likely be several years out. I spoke to a representative of NCDOT today, and they said they would likely be beginning this sometime around 2029 or so. So tonight, we're asking council to provide direction on whether you would like to participate in these sidewalk improvements, and if so, which option you prefer. If council chooses to move forward with any of the widening options, staff will coordinate with NCDOT to update the design, and the manager will sign a municipal agreement. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Council, do I have a motion regarding one of the 4 presented options?
I'll make a motion that we move forward with option 1.
I will second.
Okay. We will open it for discussion. We'll start with Mr. Wise.
Yeah, so I'm on the, okay, here's a lot of initials coming at you. The LOS RPOTAC, and a proud member, I'll say. But the Wilson Road realignment and this project is set to be let, as Paul said, late 28 or early 29. And it's kind of typical with our partners at DOT, who I love, that they give us options to better our community.
That we pay for.
That we pay for. However, I think option 1 is really the only option because Wilson Road will be improved. Augusta Road is also slated to be improved and will connect. And Hendersonville Highway will also be improved. So eventually, all these sidewalks are going to connect back up to this roundabout. And if we opt not to do all the sidewalks, then we'll have a problem to deal with later that's more expensive. Also, one of the number one complaints we have in our community is the lack of sidewalks. And with the amount of volume coming into the Augusta Trail, which is 400 feet down the road on Augusta, I think this is going to be a heavily trafficked area. So I think there's a lot of compelling reasons. That coupled with we do have a couple of years to kind of look at funding for that makes it, to me, an option 1 is a good choice to make.
Ms. Holder?
What will be the cost of option 1?
20,000.
20,000.
And that will be both sides?
It'd be all sides.
All sides.
All sides.
And what would be the timeline?
That we'd have to pay it, or when it would be constructed?
Construction.
Construction, probably 2030.
2030?
2030.
So the option 4 at no cost to the city, we're looking at 2028 or 29?
Well, it's all the same. 2030 would be construction of this project in general, no matter what we choose.
Okay, so I'm looking at no cost to the city, same timeline.
That's correct.
It's just kind of.
I mean, it's a state project. They're just asking us, do we want to have wider sidewalks or skinnier sidewalks? And if we want the wider sidewalks, there would be a cost to the city for that.
Okay.
The timeline stayed the same, no matter what.
If we got wider ones, would that be more than $20,000 or less?
The wider ones are $20,000.
Okay.
8 foot wide all the way around.
Make it make sense to me with the no cost to the city or it costing us $20,000. I'm really trying to get it.
No, that's fine. They weren't originally going to include any sidewalks, and then I called them and reminded them of their complete streets policy that says that their right-of-way improvements should be for everybody, cars, bikes, pedestrians, etc. So they agreed to put in 5 foot wide sidewalks as a standard. They were going to put the 5 foot wide sidewalks in regardless of whether or not we participate. The only catch is that, we would have to maintain the sidewalks as city infrastructure. That's part of the agreement. Now, if we want wider sidewalks to make them more comfortable for pedestrians to navigate, then we'd have to pay the additional 3 feet of concrete to make them 8 feet wide. So 5 feet is standard, 8 feet would be a betterment that the city would pay for.
And what would that betterment for the 3 feet cost?
Just $20,000.
Still 20,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, all right, I think I got it. It's 20,000 either way, if the city does it or if we partner with DOT.
It's 20,000 if we do it while DOT is doing their project.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Mr. Baker?
That's all.
Yeah, so I think of all the, well, I don't want to say that, but There are a lot of places that might see some pretty exciting redevelopment with the arrival of the Acosta Trail. I think this is one of those areas. You know, the Railroad Avenue area is certainly another one. So I think we gotta think very long term when we're thinking about this, and not just imagine what this might look like, even when it's built, but you know, when there are potentially some new businesses and new homes and new economic vitality in that area that isn't currently there. And the Acosta Trail is less than 400 feet away from where this DOT project is going to end, on the right-hand side of the photograph that we're looking at right now. And so I did ask staff if they could estimate the cost of what, because that 400 feet of sidewalk to connect this to the Acosta Trail, we're sort of implying that eventually we're gonna get that done one way or the other, whether it's fee in lieu with a development paying for it, or you know, we decide to do it. So do we know what an estimated cost for 400 feet of 8-foot wide sidewalk would be?
We do. I got with the Public Works Director earlier this morning after you expressed some interest in that. And he got out his calculator and gave me an estimate of $18,075.
Wow, very, very exacting. I like it. Are there any cents on that, or we feel confident there? Okay. So 18,000, an additional 18,000 to get an 8-foot wide sidewalk to connect directly to the Acosta Trail. So
And that's
good to know.
Ourselves in-house.
Right,
with staff.
right.
And it appears we have enough right-of-way for that. We might have to ask for additional right-of-way from the neighboring properties just a little bit. Certainly a construction easement. But
Yep.
it's really, it's unknown if we're going to have exactly enough right-of-way. I would have to really study that.
Yeah. So that was my main thought when I was thinking of this, is just, you know, being able to connect pedestrians from the Acosta Trail directly to this intersection where there might be some new businesses at the time. And so then I was thinking, well, maybe we could get away with just doing the 8-feet sidewalks on the Acosta Trail side of this photograph. But then I remembered that the river, which is not shown in this photograph, is literally just off of the photo there to the other side. There's a river access there, which is being expanded by Mountain True. So there's just a lot of cool amenities that are in this area that I think are going to inspire a lot of new businesses and interesting things over there. And the other thing is if there's going to be some interaction between the river and the Acosta Trail. There's multiple river access sites along the Acosta Trail, and this is one of them. There's one near Everett Road. There's another one in Little River down in Penrose. And so having not only vehicle access between the river access points, but pedestrian access along the Acosta Trail is kind of a game changer. So with that, I think the 8-foot sidewalks makes the most sense. I do have a question though on the financial side of things. Number one, do we know when they'll come calling and asking for us to pay for what we're signing up for?
It wouldn't be until the project is complete.
Okay, so it would be in 2045?
And they usually don't close out a project until a year or two after it's complete.
Okay,
They give it time to function and make sure that nothing is defective.
okay.
They wait a year or two and then they close out the project.
And do we think we're locking in the cost at $20,000 today? Or are we going to pay the 2030 cost of an additional 3-foot sidewalk?
I think that they can always come back and say that there's been some cost escalation.
Yeah.
We would have to
Okay,
negotiate a new agreement
okay.
at that point.
And then final question, the fee in lieu, so if there are new developments here and they are required to build sidewalk, could some of those funds be applied to this?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
Okay.
That's what it's for.
okay. Those are all my questions.
Mr. Lytle?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. There's no sort of cheaper time to do it than now. If we want to do it later, I'm sure it'll more than double the cost, I would imagine. And for $20,000 for whatever that is, 6 years from now, if my math is right, I think it makes sense.
All right.
Before we go, Aaron, you asked a question, and I need to make the connection that Paul said that it would be $18,000 and $75. Would that be additional?
To fill the gap. So the sidewalk that you're voting on is going to stop 400 linear feet short of reaching the Acoustic Trail, the future Acoustic Trail, the rail corridor.
Mhm.
So what Councilman Baker was asking is what would it cost to fill that gap if the city had to do that later on?
So it'd be $38,075 instead of 20.
But that's not what you're voting on tonight.
That's not-
Tonight, you're only voting on the 20,000 for
I
the,
get it.
for the.
Okay,
for
I
the
just want to
sidewalk.
make sure that we're clear that it will be an additional to what we're voting on tonight.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll move on to our next item, which is the HCA resolution. And I will be presenting this. I think, as everyone knows, HCA purchased Mission Hospital and all of its subsidiary hospitals, including TRH, back in 2019. Mission Hospital is the only Level 1 trauma center in all of Western North Carolina. Because of this, every person in Western North Carolina relies on the quality of care of that hospital. Since 2019, since they purchased it, Mission Hospital has been found by the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, which is the regulatory authority over hospitals. They have been found to be in immediate jeopardy in 2021, 2024, 2025, and in 2026. So in 5 years, they have had 4 immediate jeopardy findings. Immediate jeopardy is the most severe and serious finding that CMS can issue and means that the hospital's non-compliance with regulations has caused or is likely to cause serious injury, harm, impairment, or death of a patient. It is the highest level of deficiency necessitating immediate corrective action by the hospital. Well, when you keep having immediate jeopardies for the same reason, when you read the actual findings, which I have read, it is for the same reasons. And what happens is they put it in immediate jeopardy. The hospital comes up with a plan of action on how they're going to fix it. CMS lifts the immediate jeopardy. They put these changes in place, and that's supposed to solve the problem. But it hasn't solved the problem. Not if we have 4 immediate jeopardies for the same systemic problems, and it's still going on. The latest immediate jeopardy was 2 months ago. And these immediate jeopardies, people are dying. And when you read the cases, it's horrific. So we started asking ourselves, and I say we, I say myself and other elected leaders in Western North Carolina, we started asking ourselves, well, what can we do? If the top regulatory authority, which is CMS, is powerless to do anything other than these findings, what other options do we have? And so one of the things that we are doing, well, there's 2 things. One, Congressman Edwards is working on legislation at the federal level, which I certainly hope passes, which will actually give CMS more authority when there is an immediate jeopardy to go in and actually assume control of the hospital. But that's not in place yet. So what we, other local elected officials and I, are looking at is, let's have all of Western North Carolina as a group go directly to the CEO of HCA, who is Mr. Sam Hazen, and tell him how important this is to us. That's what this resolution does, how critical the Level 1 Trauma Center is to every community in Western North Carolina, how the current process is not working, because if you do the same fix to the same problem and the problem repeats itself, there's nothing that says the latest thing is going to solve that problem. And ask him to come out here and listen to the people and to work with the stakeholders to try and find a true solution to the systemic problems. Because right now, the only authority that can put a true solution in place is HCA at the corporate level. And so one of the things we did as a member of the Land of Sky Council of Government, the Regional Council of Government, I am the chair of the board of that government. There are 28 voting members on that board. So when you think it's hard to get a vote from you guys, I have 28 members that voted. In March, I took the resolution to Land of Sky, and I had a unanimous vote from Land of Sky, counties, municipalities, for Land of Sky to approve a resolution. We are also asking that that same resolution, and what you have in front of you is just the local edition of the same resolution that Land of Sky passed. We are asking each municipality and each county elected body to pass a resolution at their level. And then we will take the Land of Sky resolution and we will take all of the individual elected body resolutions and we will approach the CEO of HCA with the one ask that is in the resolution, and that is that he come out here, talk with us, and try to come up with a true solution to fix our hospital. So that is what I'm asking council to vote on tonight. So with that, do I have a motion regarding the resolution for HCA?
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution.
Do I have a second? Did I hear a second? Second. All right, we will open it for comments. Ms. Holder?
This is so serious. And as you and I attended that, and some of the others attended the forum they had, and no one from the hospital was there to represent, no one answered the questions. I don't know about you, and I didn't get a call back as promised.
No, I didn't either.
And so I don't know what measures we need to take even beyond this to get some resolve in this. We're talking about a healthcare system that we all need. So, yes, I think this is important. I hope and pray he comes and is able to answer questions and give us hope with fixing this.
Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I want to just thank the mayor for her leadership on this issue. This has been something that she has been working on for many years, I think maybe even before she was mayor. And this is, healthcare is really personal to everybody because we all need healthcare. We all have parents and kids who need healthcare. And we're in an incredibly frustrating situation as a community with the only healthcare provider that provides the level 1 trauma center that we all need. And I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the CMS process and the immediate jeopardy. There's confusing terms, and it gets complicated, but I'm glad Congressman Edwards is also working on this, because part of the reason the CMS system is broken for actually holding HCA accountable has to do with the fact that the CMS works great if you live in a city, in a big city. If there's 5 hospitals in your city that are all accepting Medicaid or Medicare, well, if one of them screws up so badly and is in immediate jeopardy 4 times, then CMS says, we're not going to reimburse you for Medicaid and Medicare anymore. And so all of the people that are on Medicare and Medicaid just go to the other 4 hospitals. Well, we don't have that option here. So CMS can't do that, because then the entire western part of the state would be without a hospital. And so they have literally no teeth. They do not have a way to compel HCA to get their act together. And those are the kindest words I can possibly say. So even this resolution, which I'm glad we're doing, is really just an almost symbolic gesture of really begging HCA to provide adequate health care for our communities. And I really wish that the federal government and the state government would assist us in helping a rural part of the state, which is in a particular bind with health care and with our only provider at this level. So I'm glad we're taking this step. I wish that we could be a little bit more harsh, honestly.
Mr. Lytle?
Yeah, thanks for bringing this to the table. And I'm reminded of, the phrase, you only get what you accept. And I think the resolution and what the local governments are doing by the step is to at least raise the alarm and send the message that this isn't going to be accepted. So thanks for doing it. Hopefully he comes and feels at least some pressure, and maybe it's hopefully all that's needed. But if not, maybe there's other creative ways we can put pressure.
All right, did I get everyone? Mr. Weiss, did I get you? No.
Can't believe you didn't ask me.
I almost forgot you.
I do want to thank you, Mayor, for fighting this fight since almost the day HCA came into our community 5 years ago. And it's important to remember that healthcare costs are artificially inflated. This is not what healthcare costs in real life. These are for-profit companies. They're private organizations. They're built to make money, and they are not built to serve communities, no matter what they might tell you. And we've seen direct evidence of this with HCA, who has never entered into a spirit of partnership with this community or any community they go into. They have a habit of going into poor rural communities and basically extracting everything they can and then leaving. So I really hope that the CEO has the integrity to come to our community and talk to us face to face. So far, they have not been inclined to do that, but as more and more municipalities and communities join together, it does create pressure for them. And if nothing else, hopefully we can help other rural communities fight this battle of what we're trying to do here and now.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes. All right, on to our last item of new business. Appointment of the citizen members to the Transylvania Economic Alliance Board of Directors, and Councilman Lytle is going to present this.
Sure, I can.
Do you want, here's
Sure.
the stuff.
Yeah. Denise was set to do a much better job than I ever will, but I'll do my best here. So, with the city of Brevard, we appoint every year one citizen member to the Transylvania Economic Alliance Board of Directors. The term is for 3 years. And on March 20th, the council appointed Mr. Al Platt to the TEA. So on February 20th to 26th, the executive director, Burton Hodges, advised that Mr. Platt's first term is expiring at the end of March and that he's interested in serving another term. So in accordance to the city's citizen appointment procedures, staff advertised the vacancy, and we called for applications through the city website. And beginning February 25th, and in the Transylvania Times on March 5th. So we had 3 applications that we received prior to the deadline that was on March 18th. And after the Finance Human Resources Committee convened and discussed on March 31st meeting, we decided to appoint the appointment of Mr. Al Platt, and we recommended that he be reappointed to the TEA Board of Directors for a second term. So the action tonight is a draft resolution to appoint a citizen member to the TEA, and it's attached with the council's consideration. So there's the attachments of the 3 applicants and also the resolution for the appointment.
Thank you. Council, do I have a motion to appoint a member to the TEA?
I'll move we appoint Al Platt, or reappoint Al Platt to the TEA.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Wise.
Dean, you did such a great job. I'm a
Yeah,
little jealous. I used to be
first one.
chair of that
Yeah.
committee, and I never said anything that great. So, good job, man. Al obviously has a enormous history with contributing to our community, and I'm excited to see him moving forward on a second term with TEA.
Ms. Holder?
Ditto, and thank you.
Mr. Baker?
I have no comments.
Mr. Lytle?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that thank all the applicants for applying to this and for their willingness to contribute to economic development. Great applications, and we had lots of discussion about all 3. And we also thank Mr. Platt for being willing to stay and fight the fight.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, that was the last item of new business. We will move on to final comments. And we will start with Mr. Lytle.
No comments tonight.
Mr. Wise?
Just a couple of things. One, last 2 weeks ago, we had a aging in place seminar that was really heavily attended. It was great, and we learned all about how a number of members in our community, a huge number of members, I don't remember exactly the number.
76 people attended.
Yeah, 76 people attended, and we talked about aging in place, which is, I gave a talk about aging in place strategies, and just a great way to see our community come together. So that was very exciting. Also, on social media, I saw that our police and fire had a little back and forth, a little fun tete-a-tete, and it was really great to see those 2 organizations kind of being a little playful on social media. I'm hoping that was all in jest. Yeah, okay. I assume so. And then finally, Mrs. Gerber, are you still here? Thank you for coming to speak to us. We have heard a lot about folks, especially in double wide or single wide trailers, getting a huge hit on their.
My home is not.
Oh, sorry.
wide. It is architecturally
Okay.
a long, straight building.
I thought you said, I'm sorry.
That is about the equivalent of a single or double wide. That was valued at $381,000.
Yes, ma'am. So just to help with this, this obviously the city has nothing to do with the revaluation. I'm sure you're aware. That's more for everyone. But the county does, and I hope you have tried to talk to them.
There are no comps, it's just one.
Yeah.
But, and it is coming before the state legislature
That's right.
about the amount that you can raise valuation in a single year. So I keenly anticipate
Yeah.
I'll talk about that.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it.
whatever, wherever that will go. And I understand that the county and city are two very different entities. And I am not asking you to be punished for whatever they did last year. I just want you to know that there are going to be consequences. It's a tricky year for our tourist economy because of gas prices, everything else. $28 may not mean a lot to everyone else. There is a segment of the population that's working real hard and paying taxes. I want to pay my fair share. That's what I'm saying. I'm grateful of this. But I just ask you to think about this issue. I know you have budget, and I get all that.
Thank you. In any case, the point was that please talk to the county to see if you can get some help.
I've already been there.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I've heard back twice.
Okay. And that is all I have. I'm gonna let Aaron. I don't want to steal Aaron's.
Oh, I'm itching to go.
I know.
Ms. Holder?
Sorry you're not next. Gotta hold it.
Be patient.
Child Abuse Prevention Month. And sadly, today we heard about 8 children who lost their lives. 7 by their dad. And one additional child, one child got away. And 2 women were wounded and fighting for their lives. It was in Louisiana, but when you think about children, you can't help but think about your own, no matter where they are. And so I pray that Child Abuse Prevention Month will be impactful in a way that we all can celebrate children and celebrate why they're here and our responsibility for our role in their lives. So just keep that family in our thoughts and prayers. And also regarding the hospital situation, going back to that just for a second, I had an unfortunate necessity to visit a few weeks ago. And so when she told me what my part of the bill was going to be, and I said, okay, and she said, if you pay today, you get 20% off. I said, really? I've never heard that, never been told that. So if you go to the hospital, hopefully you won't have to, but if you pay your bill, your part of the bill that day, you get 20% off. So yeah, no one ever told me that. I'm putting it out there as much as I can.
Just wait. Well,
Just wait
I'll
one.
wait for my time.
Don't mess it up.
All right. Mr. Baker?
Yeah, I'll start with some quick things. So I'm very excited to see Fairhaven Meadows. I don't know if people have driven by there, but it seems like it's coming up out of the ground. So that's 42 new homes that the city helped make happen that will be affordable, and for us, the cost of the housing will be attached to the area median income. So that is a very positive thing, I think, for our city. I want to thank all the city departments that were involved in keeping people safe at the assault on the Carolinas. Seemed like we had a great event out there a couple of weeks ago. And so finally, I do want to talk on some of the property tax stuff. And, it's budget season, but our state legislature, which is back in session today, they don't have a new budget. They haven't had a budget in 2 years. So while we're working hard at the city and the county, because we are obligated to have our budget done by June 30th, the state can just ignore it for as long as they want. And teachers don't get a raise and all sorts of things like that. So, but one thing they are busy working on is property taxes. Unfortunately, they've only talked about property tax rates, which is what we decide up here during our budget year and what the county decides. There's been no talk that I've heard of in terms of tax valuations and limiting how much those can go up. They want to limit what we can decide in terms of increasing the tax rate, but they don't want to talk about the tax valuation side of the ledger, which impacts people's tax bill just as much as the decisions that we make up here. And I think that's absolutely crazy that they are hyper-focused on limiting local government, which is the government that is closest to the people, but they are not concerned with the just skyrocketing valuations and, let's be honest, like inaccurate valuations that we've seen here, and I know it's happening in other parts of the state. Another local thing that the governor just pointed out, I know we've talked about data centers up here, and we're currently in a moratorium until we can come up with some rules around that, but I did not know this until I read about it, that data centers do not pay sales taxes. So when they are buying equipment or they're buying electricity from Duke, we've heard so much about how much electricity they use, they don't have to pay sales tax on that. When they're repairing any of their stuff, they don't pay sales tax. And sales tax goes to the state level. It also comes to the local level. It's a big part of the revenue that we rely on. So the fact that we're seeing this explosion in data centers, and they have a carve-out that allows them to not pay sales tax and not pay their fair share, the sales tax that everybody else has to pay, is just unconscionable to me, and I hope the state legislature will see fit to change that soon. That's at the same time that Duke Energy is asking the state to raise our energy rates 18%, largely because of the data centers that are getting these tax breaks. So I know some of that is state level stuff, but it really does have a local impact. And I'm glad we made that decision on the data centers. I'm looking forward to what planning comes up with on how we're going to move forward there. That's all I've got.
Mr. Attorney.
Well, I was just going to say, be careful. I would love to tout this 20%. I had a family member go to the hospital and get the pay up front, and we'll get you 20% off. And then the bills from the other two specialists came in that were full price that they want me to pay, which I'm told them to come and get it, suckers. So we'll see if they choose to do that. So I don't want you to get too far
Okay, I
ahead.
just
So
open that up.
stand by. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't.
I'm sorry to be the doom and gloom, but I don't, you know how I feel about HCA and how far exactly I think you can throw them.
Warm and fuzzy.
Oh,
Well,
yes.
at least I get to keep that 20% in my pocket.
You can get to keep that 20%. You can use it to pay the second bill that comes in or ignore it. No, I too I just didn't want to be, I didn't want to mislead the public. They're certainly not. There's an interesting article in the, I know John Rich is gone, so I'm kind of glad because I'm going to praise the Transylvania Times. They've got an article in there today from John Hood, who normally I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, but he had a good article about hospitals and their fact that North Carolina has 71.2% of the state of North Carolina has hospitals are in monopoly or semi-monopoly networks, and which is one of the highest in the country, and shouldn't be the case. And as a result, it's done all sorts of weird things to our market. We'll leave that to one thing. I'm very proud of this council for doing what they did tonight on the resolution brought forward from the mayor. Having said that, we do have a brief closed session tonight. I think it will be a very brief one. I think I've spoken to most of you individually. And if you wouldn't mind to do that, please remember that, Mayor. Thank you.
Madam Clerk,
Nothing for me, thank you.
Mr. Acting City Manager.
Thank you for allowing me to participate, and I would be remiss to not thank staff. It takes a lot of effort to pull things together for a council meeting, and appreciative of their hard work to get it here.
Yeah, I just have a couple of things, As always, we have, when you look at our agenda at our meetings, we covered a wide variety of topics. So I will echo that. Thank you to staff, and thank you to staff for all of the work over the last few weeks with all of the different community events that we've had. And of course, we have one of the big ones coming up with White Squirrel Weekend and Memorial Day. But it doesn't just happen. It happens because people put a lot of time and effort and professionalism into it. I do want to mention a couple of things that we have coming up. We have another event this Friday where we have a 1-hour presentation about fraud awareness. If you've noticed, there are an awful lot of frauds, scams that are all over the place. I mean, sometimes they're on the phone, sometimes they're on the internet. You make the mistake and you click on one thing, or you provide one piece of information. And so we, in conjunction with AARP, this is part of our age-friendly community service, we are providing a fraud awareness lecture. We've got an expert from Brevard Police Department going to be talking about what they've seen locally. AARP is sponsoring it. They are providing a free sandwich for lunch. It is Friday at noon at the Railroad Depot. There are flyers over there. If you want to come to the lecture and have a lunch, you need to just register, send an email to the email address. But I think it's a very useful thing because an awful lot of people are, they're getting more and more, professional at the scams. And it's harder and harder to recognize what's going on sometimes. So that is happening Friday. And in conjunction with that, we also have a giant paper shredding machine that is going to be in the parking lot at the Railroad Depot from 1 to 4 Friday afternoon, because we all know we don't want to throw anything in the trash that has sensitive personal information on it. And so getting rid of it properly, this is an opportunity. Anyone can come, drive up with your sensitive papers, and get them shredded right then and there. So 1 to 4 in the afternoon, no pre-registration needed to shred, but we do have the fraud awareness lunch and learn that I really encourage people to go to. I am going to also mention this Friday, we are celebrating Arbor Day. We didn't go through a big proclamation, it was on the consent, but this is going to be the 45th year that we are a tree city, 45, 46? 45 years we have been a tree city. A part of being a tree city is we appreciate our trees and we plant new trees. So on Arbor Day, I'm looking forward. I think Brevard Elementary School is going to be joining Pisgah Forest, that's right, sorry, Pisgah Forest Elementary School out at the rec center. Brevard Elementary is going to be jealous now. Oh, my God. We'll have to do something for them. Going to be joining Public Works and me, and we are planting 4 new trees at the rec center. So thank you, Public Works. The kids love it. They will go out and plant those trees with a little bit of help from the PW crew. Let's see. Also, I want to mention something I see the police department is doing Saturday, and that is the Drug Take-Back Day. Right, Chief? I've got that right? Saturday, to get rid of all of those old prescription medications or over-the-counter Just prescription, okay. Just prescription. Get rid of your old prescription medications. You can come to CVS between 10 and 2 and drop them off. Because again, we want to be very careful. We're protecting our environment. We are not putting it in the water system. We are not putting it in the trash. We are not putting it in the landfill. We are not leaving it where children could get at it. We are disposing of them properly. And so thank you to the police department for organizing that. And finally, on Thursday, if you haven't heard enough from me today, we have Meet the Mayor. It's going to be at the Mary C. Jenkins Center from 11:30 to 1. And as always, I look forward to talking about whatever is on your mind. So I think with that, I need a motion to go into closed session for pending litigation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, we are now in closed session. Please stop the broadcast. And thank you, everybody. Please clear the room.